Financial Planner. Follow us on YouTube.
Steve, thanks for coming on the line with me today.
Yeah, thanks, Kenneth. I think we've got lots to talk about, especially since the Chinese said they're going to start trading their oil in yuan on their own exchange, and then back their yuan with gold. That makes it attractive to do that. So, yeah, we're seeing lots of big changes now happening in the market. So, there's plenty to talk about.
You know, we hit a high earlier this year on the U.S. dollar index of, 103? I think that was back in February or March of this year. And we are just rapidly seeing the U.S. dollar in relation to other fiat currencies collapse. I mean, we're in the 91 range as we speak here, down from 103. And if you look at a chart, it's just a black diamond ski slope down to 80 from here. Really not a lot of support in the 80 range. And yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, we have a situation here where the U.S. dollar is breaking down. The economy is not doing too well. Gold is starting to pick up. We're strongly over 1,300. I mean, what are your thoughts on some of these things?
Yeah, I think, and of course, we had the recent announcement that the U.S. Treasury has increased the debt now. It's been 5-6 months in the making, but the debt now is, U.S. total debt is over 20 trillion. It jumped up 318 billion in one day, and that was on Friday. So we went from 19.8 to over 20.1 trillion in just a blink of an eye. And I'm writing an article about that. And so I do believe the Clive Mon does some excellent technical analysis, and I'm not a big follower of technical analysis, but I believe the traders and the market are followers of technical analysis. And according to his chart, this was a few weeks ago, he said the big key support for the U.S. dollar was at 92.5. Well, we broke below that. It actually closed below that on Friday. Now, we've kind of gone up a little bit, today and yesterday, because supposedly the North Korean geopolitical situation with the nuclear incident or whatever is now being played down. So the stock markets rallied yesterday 250 points. The dollar went up, pretty good yesterday, and it's up a little bit today. And so, unfortunately, though, the dollar is still below that key support area. So you're right. We could see a continuing decline in the U.S. dollar. Now, gold and silver have done very well, and of course, as the price of gold and silver have gone up from their lows of, let's say, a couple months ago, well, the commercial the commercial banks have been increasing their short. So the one thing we're waiting for is the commercial short, which is the failure, when they have to actually buy back their gold and silver shorts. They can't liquidate them and push the price lower. They're going to have to buy them back, and this would be the short squeeze we're looking for. Don't know if this is going to be that time, Kenneth, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of changes, especially this last week with China announcing that they are going to start trading oil in yuan. And to make that a favorable kind of a trade, they're saying that they're going to back that yuan with gold so it can be convertible into gold. And this opens the ear of the Middle East oil exporters as well as other countries, because they already have the dollar, and even though the dollar is the world's reserve currency, there's a lot of trouble with it. But when you say that you're going to back something with gold and they can convert it to gold, it's a different story. It actually has a lot of confidence. It's a very big, it's a good insurance policy compared to the U.S. dollar. So I see that we could see some issues this fall with now the debt ceiling has been increased. We've got serious issues in two major U.S. states having a lot of trouble now with hurricanes. So there's a lot of problems going forward. So there's been several analysts like Jim Rickards, and I'll end with this, that believe we could finally see some market volatility in the fall. And I put a new article out recently, which I touched on that. We can just discuss that as well. But if we see fireworks this fall, I do believe the precious metals could really increase during that time.
Many are saying that it's because of manipulation that we aren't seeing precious metals move up the way they should. And, the case is strong that the central bankers are in there heavily manipulating gold and silver. And you know what? A lot of people have turned to cryptocurrency because it's an area where obviously there's a lot of bad actors and just others in the area looking to scam people potentially. But it's also the Wild West of opportunity. And, you got Bitcoin and some of these other ones who are reflecting, the capital entering this space. And you know what? It's really, many are saying that the rise, over $150 billion total market cap in these cryptocurrencies is a reflection of all the fiat money that has been printed worldwide. And I tend to agree with that. And it's been really exciting following coins like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of these other ones. And I just want to get your thoughts. What are your thoughts on, cryptocurrencies and how did you get involved with Bitcoin? What sparked your interest?
Let's say this: the cryptocurrencies have two very positive factors. One, there's no debt tied to them. Fiat money has debt tied to them, and so even though there's a lot of negative things we can say about cryptocurrencies, the one negative thing they don't have is they don't have a lot of debt burdening them. The second thing is they don't have the control by the central banks that are manipulating the price of gold and silver. They don't have that ability either. Central banks cannot manipulate the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum, Litecoin, these other coins. And so when money moves into Bitcoin or Ethereum, it really pushes the value of that coin up. Unfortunately, when money moves into gold and silver, it mostly moves into gold and silver on the exchange. And so when the money starts to really flow in the exchange, Kenneth, then the banks add more contracts. So they can keep adding more and more and more and more contracts. And this has been done to kind of like deflate the overall value of gold and silver. Keep it kind of washed out. Well, Bitcoin and these other cryptocurrencies, they don't have that issue. They don't suffer that same problem of all these massive contracts coming on. So that's the difference. But I still believe that the precious metals, Kenneth, are the real safe haven go-to asset. Even though I agree with you, we will continue to see more funds move into the cryptocurrencies, but we will continue to see a lot more funds also move into gold and silver because they still are the 2,000 plus years of, psychological store value, whereas the cryptocurrencies are actually providing, let's say, a new technology. And so they're both exciting, and I look at them both differently, but some people say no, cryptocurrencies, only gold and silver, and some say forget gold and silver, they're no longer needed, only cryptocurrencies. I believe those are both wrong. I see a lot of money moving into both of these in the future.
We have a lot of money, as you say, moving into the cryptocurrency space, and it's attracting some of the smartest people in the world. Really, you have the modern day Copernicuses and the Sir Isaac Newtons working in blockchain now, and it's because it's exciting. There's just a whole new frontier of opportunity and just all that's going on. And who knows where it's going to be. It's one of the things I've said is not even the Jetsons could have anticipated where we are today. This is just a whole new paradigm of what is possible with technology, and we're still trying to wrap our minds around it. And you are the co-founder of the Commodity Ads Network, and you guys are you're in the middle of this pre-sale of the CDX token. I know you guys are doing some different bonuses, and I want to ask you, what was the driving force for why you guys wanted to do this, and then I want to get into the details on the coin itself.
Well, thanks, Kenneth. The Commodity Ad Network, and that's the name of it, It's basically an alternative ad network, and it was the brainchild of my web designer, and he was an excellent web designer, web programmer. He's been doing this, looking at this and working on it for years. His name is Presale, and he is the founder. I am more the marketing guy. Some call me the co-founder, but he is more the founder. It is if you go to the website, which is commodityadnetwork.com, there's a 61-page white paper, and everything in our business model, the technology, is in that white paper. It's very extensive. The reason why he decided to do this was we're starting to see that Google is defunding or trying to cut back ad revenue to certain YouTube channels, certain YouTube videos on the alt media network. And one of the famous ones was several weeks ago, Julian Assange showed that Ron Paul, a lot of his videos were being marked as not ad friendly. And so what that means is you don't get the revenue for that video. And what you have to do, you have to manually review it, send it to Google. They'll come back at some point in time. Well, by the time they get back with you and say, oh, it's okay, then you lose your ad revenue. Now, Peter and I did an interview with James Damore, which was a fired Google engineer. And we asked him, he's a very logical guy, very logical, and we asked him what he thought about this. And he says, well, it's an ideology at Google, and what they're doing is they believe in do no evil, but they are defining what the evil is. And according to the assumption is that the evil is the alternative network, or alternative media. And so they disagree. And of course, the 400 fake news websites out there, these are also a part of do no evil. So what's happening is there is an orchestrated effort to hurt the alternative media message by actually defunding them. And they're starting with YouTube, but as James Damore said in the interview, he thinks it's logical that they're going to move to the advertisements on websites, which is AdSense, and they're going to change the algorithms on that. But we're already seeing websites. I've talked to people in our industry. Their ad revenue is falling. And so this commodity ad network, in a nutshell, Kenneth, we are going to bring on in the beginning 300 of the content creators, which are alternative websites, and we're going to pay them a $1,000 sign-on bonus. And we're going to pay them at least twice what they're paying, what they're getting from, let's say, Google. And then we're going to bring in advertisers who actually want to focus their ads, which are precious metals, which are resource newsletters, which may be the mining industry, which may be survival goods, all these different advertisers and all these different markets. They would actually advertise, and they would have their ads directly on the commodity ad network. So it's a perfect match for both for the website as well as the advertiser. So we have this CDX token, and that CDX token is what has funded the venture, and we actually hit, pre-sale ended on September 9th. We actually hit minimum funding, so that the venture will go forward, and now we have the ICO, which runs till the end of September. So, yes, the business is going forward. We're starting to get more and more content creators sign up, and the programming of the actual platform is now, we have the programmers working on that. So everything's moving right along.
Yes. It's something that really has attracted me to cryptocurrency, and that is the free market providing solutions to usurp centralized, controlled environments. And that's what we have here with Google and what they're doing. And I've heard it said that Google's crackdown on these quote-unquote fake news sites and their demonetization of them was the largest layoff ever. It's been described that way. It's the largest mass layoff ever in history. And what they're doing is they're censoring and they're controlling the narrative and what they want out there. And here you are with a solution. It's these people who want to control gravity, or like a water flowing down a mountain. and they just keep getting in front of the water, and the water just continues to go around the rocks, and that's what you guys are doing here. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I want to ask you a little more about the token, and wrap our minds around it, and learn about this with you here on the show today. And you said $1,000 bonus. So what does that mean? $1,000 in CDX based on what price of a CDX token? How does that work?
Okay, well, right now, during the pre-sale, people who participated in the pre-sale, 1 Ether, when let's say that the price now is 300 plus or minus, 1 Ether would purchase 3,000 CDX tokens. So it's something like 10 cents, so 11 cents a token. But the base price, the real base price, is 1 Ether equals 1,500. And that's when the CDX token is finally listed on an exchange, it will be listed on an exchange based upon that 1 Ether with 1,500 tokens. However, the pre-sale is now over, and we sold actually 21 million of the CDX tokens of the 90 million. So we were successful. We hit our minimum target, which we're very happy to do that. And I will tell you this: it wasn't big money that came in. Normally, on a lot of these ICOs, it's like a 10, it's a 7 to 10 to 15 is an average of the Ether amount. Ours was about 3. So there was a lot of ones, there was a lot of 1.5s and 4s. So it was the small investor who was very interested, not only as an investment per se, as they want to look at it as speculation possibly, but also it was a good thing to do. So we were funded by the exact people we want to align with. The small person, the small mom and pop, the small to medium advertisers and content creators. So we've reached that. Now we're in the ICO, and there's a bonus the first week, which is this week, for 50% more. So if 1 Ether is 2,250 CDX tokens. Next week, if the bonus is only 30%, the following week it's 10%, and then it ends. There's a few days there's no bonus. So we're going to continue to get more and more support, more and more Ethers being sold into CDX tokens. Now, the CDX token, when an advertiser comes in, they will either use fiat money and purchase the CDX tokens, or they use, let's say, regular dollars. We would take those dollars, convert them to CDX tokens, and then a portion of those would be used to actually provide the ad revenue to the content creator. And then the other part, let's say about 50%, 45%, is what is to run the whole system. Or the profits will be to build new things that we want to do. And so, or the advertiser can come in and actually buy their own CDX tokens. They can hold on to them, and they can use those to purchase the advertising space. So they can hold on to some of them and watch the value appreciate, where they can actually get more advertising space for that. So the CDX token is a perfect utility token. That's exactly what it is. Some people may look at it as a speculation because the value will rise and fall on the market. It will be on an exchange, but it's really a perfect utility token. It's going to be used not only to fund this operation, but to get the advertisement money to the content creator. And let me just say this: we believe this is going to really grow, and I'll tell you why it's going to grow. Not only is Google trying to hurt the alt media, they're also starting to see signs of cracks at Google. And it's kind of like IBM in the 70s, 60s, 70s, before Apple came on. They got too big. And we heard that P&G, Procter & Gamble, they're going to reduce $100 million of their advertising budget on digital advertising because there's 2 big complaints in it. One, that they're bots now that are clicking on ads. And that's costing Procter & Gamble, it's fraud. It's not humans clicking on it, it's bots. And then another thing that's happening, a lot of the ads were being put on ad exchanges. And so it wasn't getting to the people that they wanted their Procter & Gamble products to get to. Well, ours, we're smaller, we won't like it that way. we're not, that's not going to be a problem with the Commodity Ad Network. We're going to match up the alt media advertisers with the alt media content created website. So they're going to get a much bigger bang for the buck. They're not going to be throwing a lot of money away on fraud and wasted ad campaigns. So the CDX token is the actual utility token that funds all that and makes it work. And lastly, as we become more successful, we're going to add more advertisers, and we're going to add more content creators when they find out that this is a good thing for everybody. But what does that do? When you go from, let's say, 500,000 in ad revenue, ad money coming in, to $1 million, to let's say 2 million, well, the token amount stays the same, Kenneth, but the underlying value of the token will increase because there's more ad revenue coming into the system. So the value of the token will actually start to rise as we become successful, because it's growing, and that's if we remove any speculation, any market trading. So I just want to let you know that it's a very powerful alternative ad network that we believe will be very successful.
Well, that is exciting, and it's very interesting. So the 90 million you said, is that how many CDX tokens there are total?
No. Okay, there are 90 million tokens available to be initially sold to the market, and we have sold 21 million plus or minus. There are 30 million tokens that are going to be held by the company itself, and a lot of ICOs do that for various reasons, but they will be held off the market. And so we don't know if all the 90 million will be sold, but if we only sell 30 million by the end of the ICO, this will be the pool that we'll be using to fund everything. And there will be some other things that will be going on, but again, as I mentioned to you, when the CDX token is traded on the exchange, it will be traded on the 1 to 1500. So it'll be traded at about 22 cents a piece. And if people get in on the pre-sale or the bonus, they're actually getting a kind of they're getting a 50% bonus on the market price right now on this 50% bonus. So that's what we're shooting for. And like I said, we are minimally funded, and we're just looking to receive more support so we can do a few more things. But yeah, we're moving right ahead, and we want to actually go live on January 1st, 2018. We have a whole business plan. Every month we have different things going on. We're actually hiring some staff this month, additional staff, and so we have a lot going on, but we think we're going to bring on the content creators and then start live testing in November. And then we want to get everything worked out, all the bugs, in December, and hopefully we should be going live on January 1st, 2018. So this is our business model, and people can check out the commodityadnetwork.com and look at the blog. We have bi-weekly newsletters that go out, and we do advise people if they want to learn more about it. We'll be putting out newsletters so they can subscribe to the newsletter.
So aside from speculation, what does the opportunity, if people wanted to invest in the CDX token, look like? And I'm talking about fundamentals. What would cause the token to go to $1 or $2 or $3? How do you see that playing out?
Okay, that's a great question, and I'll answer that two ways. Peter, if you want to go to the business, it's called the business itself. There's a link on there, the business model, and then you can go to the white paper and download it. He gives some estimates of the growth factor when we start growing. Again, when you start to grow and you add more money into a limited number of coins, the underlying value of the asset will increase. Now, on the other hand, look what just happened in China. They banned a lot of these ICOs. Now, I actually had a conference call with Peter this morning. A lot of those ICOs were they were Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, and there was probably a reason for that. And so I think the issue is a lot of these ICOs, even that are coming out in the States, they're coming out in Western countries. A lot of them, they're techie. They're very techie. They're taking, they're raising money. They're taking this money. They're using a lot of high tech, techie solutions, but they don't really have their business models. Like I'll give you an example. AdX. They are an alternative to the Ad Network for the entertainment industry. And if you go on World Coin Index, you will see their coin is traded ADEX. And it recently, a few weeks ago, it jumped up. It was doing some interesting moves in the actual speculation of the ADX coin. The problem is they state in their white paper that they want to. You see, they're doing a kind of they're trying to get rid of the fraud that I just spoke about, the bot clicking. They're working in the Google system to come up with a solution for the entertainment industry. The problem is they say in their white paper this kind of solution could take time. So it will take time to build up the business model, the ad revenue. Well, we see that's problematic to me, because the funds that they raise, they have a short period of time to become a successful business, usually a year or two. Peter has designed this. We start becoming successful in January 1st. Our business model goes into full gear in just 4 months. So we think this was a very important business model to begin with. And then we use the CDX token to kind of be a utility token, not only to fund the venture, but to be the token that facilitates the payment to the content creators or the payments received from the advertisers. This is not a high techy kind of solution that's going to solve world's problems, but it's a very, very good business model. So we believe when a lot of these ICOs don't turn out, and I do believe 80% or more are going to fail. I do see the CDX token and the Commodity Ad Network as one of the few that will be successful. So when that happens, more and more funds will move into a real successful business model, token-based business model, than more of a high-tech solution that may not have a good business model and may not really do what they say they're going to do over the next year or two. So we're trying to jump off the gun and become a very profitable business model on day one. That's what we want to do. We want to set it up being profitable in the beginning. We don't need to wait 2 years down the road. So that's why I think not only would the underlying value of the CDX token would normally increase when more money moves into it, but I do believe when we start seeing a lot of these other tokens fall apart, I think the interest will go into more of the few. More money will move into the ones that are truly successful. And that's how I see a possibility of investing in the CDX token.
Steve, so let's say, God forbid, the launch was not successful, or we kind of come out of the gates here and there isn't an influx of advertisers that come online, and then there's not enough people buying the tokens. What's the risk for people buying into the pre-sale and the ICO? Or is there some fundamentals here where we are at right now that's protecting everybody?
Kenneth, there are always risks in new startups. Most new startups won't make it, and we belong to that. We belong to that as well. That equation. We're not immune to let's say, starting up and then not becoming a successful business model, and then there's failure. There's no way. There's no really guarantee on everything. There's no guarantee on anything.
Of course.
However, we have tried to minimize the risk. Now, we can't minimize Ethereum falling to $15. If the price of Ethereum, which is the CDX token is based on, if the price of Ethereum and Bitcoin happen to collapse in the next 6 months, there's nothing that we could do about that. That's out of our hands. That's out of the business model hands, because that's the value of the CDX token, as well as most of the tokens in the market. We don't see that as a problem. We don't think that's going to happen. We see that these larger tokens will probably remain in their value. Now, even if Ethereum fell considerably to a certain amount, we can still fund the project. We have taken that into consideration. But yes, there are risks. We do believe we are getting numbers of people signing up as content creators. We are, and we're starting the marketing campaign now on the content creator, because the content creator are going to be, when we get those numbers, they're going to be offering the ad spaces to the advertisers. So the more we get, the more ad spaces there are in the ad network. So it is important to get them first, which is why we are going to pay them the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Yes, in CDX tokens. So we're working on that right now. We are getting more and more people wanting to sign up. I think it's going to start to move considerably. We'll see that number increase, and we're going to make this information available starting probably in October through the newsletter, and then as we acquire more advertisers, the next thing is the advertisers. But we will start working on the content creators first, and then the advertisers second. The programming and the model that's designed to run all this, that is already starting on September 1st. The team is working on that. So we believe there's less risk with this ICO and this CDX token than others, because it's based upon a very successful business model. But we can't say there's no risk if there's no risk. There are risks, and some risks are out of our hands. But a lot of people are investing in the cryptocurrency, and they understand these risks.
So, Steve, when it comes to capital flowing into the CDX token and the coins, tell us, where do you think it's going to be listed? What exchanges do you expect it to be on? And what does the growth on that front look like?
Kenneth, those are all good questions. There are several exchanges that we can list it on. And actually, Peter, he's the techie. He is more in control of all the programming, the technical side, the exchanges, a lot of the foundations of the company. I'm more of the marketing guy. We don't have the names yet, but we want to list. We don't want to list the token too early. Some ICOs, or let's say some tokens, have listed their token too early, and it became like a pump and dump. We don't want to do that, because we think it's important. It's important for not only the investors as well as the commodity ad network that we are very fiscally responsible, fiduciary responsible. So we want to hold off the listing until the end of October, in the beginning of November. And the reason why we're going to do this is we're hoping, we already have some advertisers, but when it does become listed on an exchange, we'll let everybody know far in advance what that exchange will be, or exchange is. And then when it's on the exchange, we hope to start bringing in the advertisers who will start actually buying the CDX token. So there will be some funds actually coming in, and so there will be support, not only trading, but support for the CDX token. And again, as I mentioned, the tokens should start trading around the 22 cent range, based upon a 300 Ethereum price. If Ethereum is much higher, well then of course the CDX token will be trading higher. And so, but as more advertisers come in and start spending more money and investing more money, ad budget into the network, then we see the value of that token increasing. And the closer we get to, as we get to that 300 content creator, and well as the 60 advertisers, that's the magic number, Kenneth. It's 5 to 1. You want 5 content creators to every 1 advertiser. That's our beginning target. And even if we don't get there in the January 1st, we get closer, that's fine, but we want to continue adding about 50 content creators each month and about 10 new advertisers. So that we can't add more advertisers if we don't get more and more content creators. So there actually could be a waiting list when advertisers realize what a powerful and how much better this system is for them, when it caters to them. So we see if there's actually a waiting list of advertisers until we get more and more content creators, this could actually be beneficial for the underlying asset of the token as well. So these are some aspects of the CDX token, the commodity ad network. It's all changing. It's all new technology, but we do see that it can be a very successful business model. And I want to end by saying this: if the motivation by Google is to kind of hurt the alternative media message, and by, like you said, there was a lot of people that layoffs. There's a lot of websites that lost money, and I continue to hear that. Well, where do the advertisers in the alt media, where do they think they're going to advertise their precious metal coins or the newsletters or the mining companies? If the actual alt media message is becoming smaller and smaller, it's going to impact the advertiser too. So it is imperative that they understand that. And so it would behoove them they don't need to come into the commodity ad network 100%, but they can try us out. And because it's in their best interest to try us out. So we think, again, these are the positive reasons why this will be a very successful business model.
Well, awesome, Steve. This is very exciting. And obviously, if people want to become part of this and be a part of this ICO and the bonuses that are currently available, please let everyone know where they can go and how they can be a part of this.
All right, it's called the commodityadnetwork.com. You go to the front page. There's a lot of links on top you could go to. We do recommend you want to learn more about us. The changing news, the news updates. You subscribe to the newsletter. There's a newsletter link. There's also you can take place in the ongoing ICO. There's a link for that. If you're new to investing in the ICOs, then you can go to, there's like a participate little link there, and you click on that, and there's a description, very detailed description how to do that. But if you have trouble, you can email Peter at commodityadnetwork.com. He's more the techie guy. He helped a lot of people during the pre-sale get through some of these issues. So you can contact him, or if there's any advertisers that hear us or would-be content creators, there are forms that you can fill out on the website, or you can contact Peter or me, which is Steve at commodityadnetwork.com, for any other information.